Well, as the Attorneys-General meet in Brisbane this morning, it's really important to recognise that according to The Australian, there is a report that has been commissioned which identifies that the Commonwealth Government is pressing the states and territory governments to water down their bail laws. Now, this is at a time when Queensland, Northern Territory, WA and even in Victoria are looking to strengthen their bail laws to counteract the rise of not just youth crime, but crime generally. We are seeing more and more offences being committed whilst on bail. Some of these offences are not just property offences, but violent offences. And at this time, when Australians are calling on their governments to protect them, this federal government wants to water down bail laws. It makes absolutely no sense. I'm calling on Michelle Rowland, the Attorney-General, to release this report in full so that Australians can see exactly what it is that this federal government is calling for. The second thing I'd like to talk about is also an article from The Australian which lifts the lid on a veil of secrecy in relation to the Linda Reynolds case in relation to the settlement for Brittany Higgins. Now, this was a $2.4 million payment that was made to Ms. Higgins by the Commonwealth. What we now know, according to this Australian report, is that the federal government, not only did they just take over the carriage of the case and effectively sideline Linda Reynolds from the mediation, but they extended the statute of limitations period by which Brittany Higgins would be unable to have had a legal claim against the Commonwealth. So the Commonwealth waived the statute of limitations, paid out $2.4 million in the most extraordinary of circumstances after a half-day mediation. We say the Coalition calls upon the government as a model litigant to ensure transparency, lift that veil of secrecy, and let's find out exactly what happened in those negotiations. How could it possibly have been the case that the Commonwealth not only extended the statute of limitation period, but also it sidelined? In fact, it refused former Senator Linda Reynolds the opportunity to defend her good name. It refused her ability to be able to attend that mediation. This stinks to high hell, and it's time that the federal government started answering some questions and that it act transparently. This is a government that consistently came to power saying, "Trust us, we'll be transparent." They've been anything but. We've seen this just in the last week of Parliament, where the federal government rammed through freedom of information laws, which will make it harder for Australians to get information. This government is anything but transparent, and it has a lot of questions to answer in relation to the Brittany Higgins affair.
Just a question from Seven. On the Albanese Government's $37 million to move to end childcare nightmare, do you support that? State and territory should be forced to sign up to it, and whether it's good enough that it won't come into effect until the end of the year?
The Federal Coalition supports any reasonable measure to protect children, our most vulnerable. We have a real problem in this country in relation to sex offenders working in childcare centres in particular. So we welcome the announcement of this pilot program that the federal government has announced today. I understand that the federal government wants to see this real-time sharing of information between jurisdictions so that an offender who has been convicted of child sex offences in Victoria, if that person tries to apply for a job in any other state, that information will be shared with those other jurisdictions, and that person will be prevented from looking after our most vulnerable. That's common sense. The Coalition supports it. I look forward to the introduction or commencement of that policy, which the Labor government are saying will commence at the end of this year. I think that's a reasonable period, and I look forward to its introduction.